What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. I am your host, theFellowKGB. You can follow me on Twitter at theFellowKGB, and it is Saturday. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I got my brother in town. He's going to be mock drafting with us in the background here. We're doing a 12-team PPR mock draft using ESPN. I'll be in the 6th spot. Andrew will be in the 8th spot, so we'll see how he does. But yeah, we're doing an ESPN draft, and it's what I noticed is they have a new thing where you can actually kind of choose your levels of your mock draft lobby. So they have rookie lobbies, pro lobbies, and expert lobbies. So this one, it's a little loud. So this one's a pro lobby. So we'll see how it goes here. Of course, we're expecting, a lot of continuity at the top with Christian McCaffrey, number 1 overall. I'm going to move this guy up here so we can see the scroll of the picks here. We got all of our ticker at the top here. So McCaffrey, Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, status quo so far. But again, this is a 12-team PPR mock, and we'll see what we can do with the 6th pick. Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook would be great for me. Michael Thomas at number 4. I mean, if I get the 6th pick, I'm thinking about Michael Thomas, but I really want a running back here. So we'll see if we can. I guess I like Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara, so we're going to go with one of those guys, and it looks like Cook's going to be our guy. I'm expecting them to get something done with him. And if you really looked at what he did last year, he was probably the 2nd best running back behind McCaffrey. Aaron Jones had a hell of a season with touchdowns, but Dalvin Cook was a monster last year. So I'm going to go ahead here and take Mr. Cook. And I think on my projections, I got Cook as my 8th best player. I could have taken Devontae Adams here if I wanted to, or Derrick Henry, but I think Dalvin Cook offers a lot of upside in PPR leagues. So we see Andrew. Andrew missed on Devontae Adams. So we went with Tyreek Hill. Interesting. He didn't take Derrick Henry or Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders actually had a really good news blurb about him. His running back coach, Deuce Staley, said he's not concerned about Miles Sanders' workload and that he expects him to do a heavy amount of lifting this year. So Sanders right now, I've seen him go as early as 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. In that range somewhere. So I think he's going to be pretty much locked into a first-round pick as we come to our drafts in August. So that's good for Sanders. And then I guess let's just take a quick look at Dalvin Cook, who was my first-round pick. We're kind of moving around here, still at the end of the first round. That's quarterbacks. But yeah, Dalvin Cook last year, he was, let me filter by PPR. He was the RB6 last year, but if you filter by fantasy points per game, he was the number 2 running back. McCaffrey, of course, 29.3 PPR points, but Cook had 21. So I really like that. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He did miss the 2 games at the end of the season, which would have sucked if, you needed him during, week 15, 16, and I guess no one really plays 17. But these numbers are pretty good, hard to ignore. So I love Dalvin Cook. Getting him at 6th feels like really good value. So we're moving along here. It looks like Aaron Jones, Julio Jones. We got the Jones brothers. Not brothers, but they're finishing out the first round. So we got Nick Chubb here. Round 2, pick 1. Andrew's going to be queued up here at pick 17. So we'll see where he goes. The fact that Miles Sanders, fell to round 12 or 2.3, that's probably the best pick of the value so far. So we got Andrew on deck. Let's see what he's going to be thinking. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is interesting right there. Austin Eckler, Kenyon Drake. Those are 3 really good running backs right there. And Andrew did go Tyreek Hill, so he probably should go running back here. So we'll see what Team G does. As for me, I'm hoping to get one of these Kenyon Drakes or Clyde Edwards or Austin Eckler. Even Joe Mixon here right now, that seems stupid. So Andrew does go Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's cool. So he's got Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going Chiefs. He's throwing the Chief hammers. So I'm going to quick take a look at my rankings before I make this pick. I got 30 seconds. I got Joe Mixon here as I got Joe Mixon and Kenyon Drake really high up here. I do have a couple of receivers higher than him, but I'm going to go ahead and take Joe Mixon. I haven't been able to take Mixon much in many of my mock drafts. He kind of has a weird range where I've seen him go as early as 10th, 11th, 12th, and then for some reason he's low on ESPN's ADP. So that's really cool. We just locked in Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon. And if we look at Mixon's numbers last year, let's see, he did finish, filter by points. Joe Mixon was RB13. He was healthy all season too. He did play a full 16 games, but his touchdowns were kind of low. He scored 8 total touchdowns, but over 1,000 yards. He did have 35 receptions, almost 300 yards there. So it was kind of a down year. The offensive line missed out on their first round pick last year. He's going to be returning this year. And of course, Joe Burrow. The offense is going to be in year 2 of Zach Taylor's system. And I just think it's going to be a night and day, a much more interesting offense for the Bengals. So we're going to get Joe Mixon there locked in as their RB2. And like I said, the Bengals were so bad last year, and he was RB13. So I think that's his floor. Hopefully we can, sneak him into the top 10 for running backs. So I think we got 2 top 10 backs, and feeling pretty good about that. So we're going to probably pivot towards receivers in the 3rd round here as I'm on deck. I would have liked Melvin Gordon as my RB3. That would have been kind of nice. But we'll see what happens here with this Phillips guy. So I'm just looking at the roster construction here. ESPN is having us take a defense and a kicker. I don't really like doing defenses and kickers. Lamar Jackson's still available. That might be kind of fun to do. But Juju Smith-Schuster, he's probably my highest rated player right now. Yeah, I got Juju up here at player 16. But the fact that Lamar Jackson's still available seems kind of stupid. Someone took Mahomes a little bit earlier. I mean, if this is like the real draft of what happens, I'm taking Lamar Jackson. I really wanted Juju. I think Andrew's going to – oh, Juju just went before Andrew. So we'll see what Andrew does here. He's got a couple list of players here. Yeah, let's see what he does. He's already got the 2 Chiefs. He's got Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm curious if he would have taken Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty sure he wanted Juju Smith-Schuster. But anyways, we get Lamar Jackson. There's a case that can be made where we've just scratched the surface with Lamar. He could actually be better. They actually brought in more weapons for the offense this year. Drafting Devin Duvernay, adding J.K. Dobbins. They're going to get year 2 of Marquise Brown and year 2 of Miles Boykin. So there's going to be some really good things happening there for the Ravens as they get better and stronger on offense. So Andrew goes ahead and takes Chris Carson to be his RB2. I like that pick. As far as running backs in that area, I think it's a pretty smart move. Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson are interesting running backs there. I was looking to see where James Conner went. Did he get pushed up? No, James Conner's still on the board. So I think that's kind of weird that ESPN is low on James Conner. They got him as their 52nd player. So I'm assuming Andrew's probably going to try to get James Conner on his team on the way back. That seems like a smart move. But Zach Ertz down here, round 4 to kick off round 4, 401. And yeah, we're sitting pretty good here. I like this. This is the 6th overall draft pick. We got Lamar Jackson round 3, Joe Mixon round 2, and Dalvin Cook round 1. So, I mean, this team's going to rush for well over 3,000 yards with just those 3 players. So we're going to have a lot of fun points there, and it's going to be a fun team to watch. That's probably one of my like golden rules of fantasy football is to pick players that you like to watch. It's not always good to be a fan and pick the players that you like your home team loves or something. But I just like picking players that I enjoy watching, and when they're on national television, they're just a hoot to watch. So we're 3 for 3 on really good players, and we'll see Andrew here. Andrew goes ahead and takes Tyler Lockett, so that's interesting. He's got Tyler Lockett, Tyreek Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Chris Carson. So we are up to pick here round 4. Looking at the best available, it says A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, James Conner still available. I'm going to go ahead here and snag James Conner. I know I kind of wanted receivers, but we just backed up Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon with a really good running back. And if James Conner's healthy, I mean, every week that Conner's healthy, he's got top 5 upside. Let's take a look at James Conner's number real quick. I mean, it was a down year last year. He only played in 10 games. But just keep in mind how awful Pittsburgh was last year without Ben Roethlisberger. And then you look at some of these fantasy numbers that James Conner put up. I think he got hurt in this Cleveland game pretty early, so that's the 2.6. And then I think he re-injured himself week 16. But every week that he was healthy, the worst game was 9.7. And then what I love about him is his involvement in the passing game. As you see, 34 receptions, 34 targets, and 3 touchdowns. And that's just in 10 games. So like we could almost double that for next year. So he's going to be somewhere around 60 receptions and probably 500 receiving yards. So I love getting James Conner. The fact that we got him as our RB3, that's a pretty good deal. So we just need some receivers. And now this has kind of been my staple of, if you've been watching my videos, this is my time. that we're going to be picking receivers rounds probably 5, 6, and 7. We're just going to be hammering some dart throws, and we'll see what sticks. So did Andrew make another pick yet? No, I picked last with James Conner. So we're moving here into the end of the 4th round. A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen. That was a really good Tyler Lockett pick. So let's just take a look at Andrew's team real quick. Or can I filter it over here? And I think this is Andrew's first mock draft of the year. So we're trying to get him ready for the end of August for our big draft. But yeah, he's got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Carson, Tyreek Hill, and Tyler Lockett. So I really like that. He's got some guys that have some really big, boom potential. So as we move here, we are entering the 5th round. Deshaun Watson, Robert Woods, and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is you see down here at round 4, pick 10. That's a really high pick for Kareem Hunt. So we're just kind of moving on here. I don't really know who's sticking up in my queue here. I do like Calvin Ridley. If we can get Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup, Marquise Brown, Marvin Jones, we can make a good starting lineup out of these receivers. So I'm happy with how we're waiting here. T.Y. Hilton would have been nice. We see Devin Singletary go, Jarvis Landry. Let me just do my due diligence and see what's available at running back. DeAndre Swift, Cam Akers, and Ronald Jones. A little news break. I think it was Thursday. LaShawn McCoy signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I guess Keyshawn Vaughn was placed on the COVID list. As you see here, ESPN starting to label their players out. But he was placed on the COVID list. This was on Monday, July 27th. So we're not sure how long he's going to be on there. But this is a big deal for a rookie. Not only did they not have any, involvement with the team besides virtual meetings this summer, like no practices and stuff. And now he's on the COVID list, so who knows how much information he's missing during the next week or so. So this is a boost for Ronald Jones for me. And then if you think about signing LaShawn McCoy, that kind of, I don't really know how much that hurts Ronald Jones. I think McCoy is a veteran running back that they basically just got for insurance. So I'm going to go ahead here and just take Terry McLaurin. If you've watched my videos, he's basically just an auto pick round 5. So we got McLaurin as our wide receiver 1. But back on LaShawn McCoy, he did get injured like early last year. I think it was like week 2. He hurt his ankle. He had an MRI. It turned out okay. But at some point towards the end of the season, they just stopped using him. He was healthy scratch from all the playoff games. He didn't even play in the Super Bowl. Healthy scratch with LaShawn McCoy. So I really don't know how much this is going to hurt Ronald Jones's value. And if anything, I think this LaShawn McCoy signing is an indication that Ronald Jones might be valued a little bit low right now. I think he's going to be a guy that you're going to bring in a veteran 32-year-old LaShawn McCoy, who was a healthy scratch most of last year. To me, that just means that they like what Ronald Jones has. They didn't need to bring in a Devonta Freeman, someone to actually compete with him and take away carries from Ronald Jones. I don't see LaShawn McCoy taking away a ton of work in this Bucs offense. If anything, he could probably take over Dare Ogunbowale's third down work and be more of a pass catcher. But yeah, we'll see. So it's kind of looking a little messy in Tampa Bay with Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy, Keyshawn Vaughn on COVID, and then Dare Ogunbowale. But I still really like Jones. We'll see where he falls in these drafts. And then Cam Akers, I guess, has been interesting to me too. But looks like we're moving here. Did Andrew make a pick? Andrew took Tyler Boyd. Good pick. I've been mocking Tyler Boyd in a couple of my drafts lately. So that's a really solid pick there. Let's take a look at Andrew's team real quick. Tyler Boyd as his flex, so he's got 3 receivers, 2 running backs. So he's set. He's looking, well balanced here, and he can kind of do whatever he wants now. And then as far as our team, Terry McLaurin's our wide receiver 1. We really only need one more receiver here to start. So it's probably a good idea to take a receiver here, but if there's running back value, I might do that. So we're in the middle of the 6th round. I might actually wait till the 7th round to see if someone falls through. But there's a ton of running back sleepers I like. If I'm looking at this list right now, Jonathan Taylor is a good pick here in the 6th round. I really don't like touching him until, this point in the draft. I've seen him go as early as the 4th or 5th round, and that's just too rich for me. But in the 6th round, I think I would take a shot on Jonathan Taylor, Tariq Cohen. I like him a lot in a PPR league. Cam Akers, Ronald Jones, Raheem Mostert's a hell of a pick at this point of the draft. J.K. Dobbins, but I think we're gonna. So Andrew took on Johnson. Interesting. We'll talk about that later. But up for us, we have AJ Green, Stephon Diggs, Michael Gallup. Any other receivers here making noise for us? I mean, Brandon Cooks is kind of fun. I mean, I've taken Michael Gallup in so many of my drafts. It's we're just gonna go ahead and take Michael Gallup. He's locked in. So our whole starting lineup is set besides tight end. I play in a league with 2 flexes, so technically my next pick would still be a starter for me. My most important leagues that I play in are no defense, no kicker, and we start like 9 players. In the other league, we actually start 10 players, so we start 3 flexes, and it just makes the draft more competitive. It just makes everything a little bit more competitive. So interesting, Andrew. I'm really curious why Andrew took Kerryon Johnson there over Jonathan Taylor. Kerryon Johnson's going to be, in a committee with DeAndre Swift, but I do like the commitment to the run game that the Lions showed. So that might be a pick Andrew and I have to talk about later. But anyways, we're cruising along here. We're at the back of the 6th round. There's a couple players that still catch my eye, specifically at running back. These top 3 guys. Oh, Ronald Jones just went. Round 6, pick 9, but Tariq Cohen, Cam Akers, Raheem Mostert, even J.K. Dobbins down here. That's a guy that, to me, he's kind of like a lottery ticket because Mark Ingram, man, how old is Mark Ingram? So Mark Ingram is 30. He's going to turn 31 in December. So it's getting up there, man. And here's the situation with Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins. It really reminds me of the rookie season for Nick Chubb, where I think Carlos Hyde was kind of in the way, and it took maybe a month and a couple weeks for Nick Chubb to finally get burst through the ceiling and just take over the RB1 duties. So I'm really starting to think J.K. Dobbins in the 7th or 8th round is going to be a potential lottery ticket league winner. So I've really been targeting him in this range. But we got one more pick here. We're almost up. I like Tariq Cohen, but I don't really know if we need him right now. We got 3 really good running backs: Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, and Michael Gallup or James Conner. Let's take a look at tight ends real quick. Hunter Henry, Jared Cook. We're totally cool with sitting on tight ends. We got Blake Jarwin, Jonnu Smith, Irv Smith. Quarterbacks locked in. Running backs. Cam Akers, he's gonna get tons of opportunity. Let's just take one more look at receiver. Marvin Jones. Brandon Cooks is an interesting guy. Marvin Jones, we don't have any Detroit Lions people yet, but I think I'm feeling okay with this. Like we can get some guys that are like more slot receivers. I think I'm gonna take Cam Akers here just on volume, and we'll see if he can maybe. So technically, Cam Akers would be starting for me if you ignore the defense and put in another flex. So we're going to be starting the running back here for the Los Angeles Rams. The offensive line's not very good, but this team, if we go here in my spreadsheets, and that's the Chargers. Let's click on the Rams. So just look at the rushing touchdowns the last 3 years with Sean McVay, 20, 23, and 17. This team, Todd Gurley was dinged up last year, but they rush. I mean, look at the averages here. They're averaging almost 1,900 yards on the ground, about 20 touchdowns, and they throw the ball a lot to the running backs. Maybe not as much last year. I think that had a lot to do with Gurley's health. Only 61 targets to running backs last year, but the year before that, it was almost 100, and the year before that, again, 100 basically. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. The team doesn't really have the strongest offensive line, but I'm pretty optimistic that Cam Akers is going to beat out Darrell Henderson. He's going to beat out Malcolm Brown. I think he's probably the most complete all-around back there. So he's the one rookie that I really like getting in this range of the draft. And I really haven't been very high on rookies at all in the early parts of my draft. But round 7, 8, 9, that's where Cam Akers, what's his name? I'm blanking right now. Um, Jonathan Taylor in that range. I can't think of who the other. J.K. Dobbins, that's the one I'm really looking forward to, and Zach Moss. So I like rookie running backs. I just don't. Even Clyde Edwards-Helaire makes me nervous, man. There might be better alternatives at that point of the draft. But anyways, we're up here to pick in a little bit. It's the 9th round. Did Andrew make a pick yet? No, Andrew's on the clock right now. So let's see what Crazy Man does. So he takes Philip Lindsay. Interesting. I like Philip Lindsay as a backup this year. Anything happens to Melvin Gordon, there could be some hidden upside there. But anyways, we got 4 really good running backs, receivers. I mean, let me just take a look at my best receivers. I think it's going to be Marvin Jones. I don't really know if I want to take Marvin Jones, though. Marvin Jones, I have him as my wide receiver 22. The next closest might be Jamison Crowder. So we're getting a really big piece here of that offense. Jared Cook's still available for these guys, so that's kind of interesting. But we're going to go ahead here and just lock in Marvin Jones. He's going to be the 3rd receiver for us, one of our potential flex players. If we're not liking what Cam Akers is bringing to the table, we can whip out Marvin Jones. I'm probably going to keep throwing some darts here at wide receiver because, I mean, our running back group, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, James Conner, Cam Akers, I feel really good about. I mean, we only technically need to start 2 of those guys anyways. So we're looking pretty good there. If we can get maybe a 5th guy just to finish the roster. But it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 picks left. So we'll see what we can do. But we're cruising along here in the 9th round. If you're enjoying the video or like any of my picks, let me know in the comments which one's your favorite, which one's the best value, if you like any of them. If you're into Terry McLaurin, don't forget to smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel as we try to grow this thing. Yeah, I just want to say thank you. If you've been watching my videos, we've been doing some really good numbers. I got a video well over 300 views and a couple other videos over 100 views, and we're up to 29 subscribers. So it's been a good, I started this channel in June, so we're starting to see just a good steady inkling of numbers. So thank you guys for that. And looks like we're almost up here in the 10th round. And there's a lot of receivers here that I like. If you can't tell, I've been really liking the running backs early. You get receivers in the mid-round. The fact that we can still get a guy like Sterling Shepard or Brandon Cooks, even Golden Tate, I think the Giants receivers are pretty low value, and you can actually get a good value at this point in the draft. Because I think Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate are going to be more consistent than a guy like Darius Slayton. And then even Evan Ingram, I really don't know if he can stay healthy. So I'm looking at the receivers here thinking I like Shepard. I like even Deontay Johnson. I like Brandon Cooks. I like Preston Williams. I like Emmanuel Sanders as the number 2 with Drew Brees. Even John Brown could offer some big weeks. Mecole Hardman's probably my favorite sleeper at this point. I even like Curtis Samuel. Mike Williams might mesh really well with Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod's got a good deep ball, guys. So Williams could have himself a nice little season. And then Jalen Reagor down here. I'm nervous to take rookies, but he's going to be pretty much the number 1 receiver right away for the Philadelphia Eagles. We saw Alshon Jeffrey is going to be on the pup list. And did Andrew make a pick yet? No, he's going to be after me. But yeah, Alshon Jeffrey is going to be on the pup list to start. We really don't know what's up with Deshaun Jackson. So Jalen Reagor, they're telling him to learn the X and the Z spots right now. He's going to be moved around pretty well. So I really like what he can do. Let's just do our due diligence. Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson, Hayden Hurst, Austin Hooper. We're totally okay with waiting on tight end at this point. We don't really need that spot filled up. Running backs, Tevin Coleman, Zach Moss. I like my Zach Moss, but I think we're okay with waiting here. Let's see. Let's just double check a quarterback. Andrew, did you take a quarterback yet?
Yeah.
You got one?
Russell Wilson.
You got Russ Wilson, you dirty dog. All right, I'm just going to go ahead here and take Brandon Cooks. Potential number 1 receiver for Deshaun Watson. And I know for some reason people are really down on him this year. He did have a bad year with the Rams last year. Let's see where he finished. I don't even know if he finished in the top 50. but Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, really did a number on things. But I'm looking for Houston. Where's Houston receivers? There we go. Let's click Will Fuller. So they already got Brandon Cooks at the number one of the depth chart. And if you look at him, last year was the first year where he disappointed fantasy owners. He only played 14 games, but his target shares plummeted. Everything just plummeted. For some reason last year, he was kind of just left forgotten in the offense. He started the season off pretty strong. The first month was really put together. But something happened in the middle of the season. I don't know if he had a nagging injury or maybe there's a family or personal issue going on. But he was just in a wasteland the whole part of the season. But he did kind of rebound here with a touchdown at the end of the year. But I mean, if we go back and look at Cooks' numbers here, and this guy is probably one of the luckiest receivers in the league. He got to catch passes from Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Jared Goff, whatever. But now he gets Deshaun Watson, so he's hitting the lottery, with his quarterback as he gets bounced from team to team. But I could see Brandon Cooks being a 1,000-yard receiver. I think I got him projected. If I look at my projections real quick. And this is the guy that I projected low. I want to kind of move him up here. I got him going for almost 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. But like I said, I could easily see him going over 1,000 yards. I'm trying to think where do I have Will Fuller? So I have Will Fuller right behind him. And it's really dependent on Will Fuller. If you feel like Will Fuller's going to get injured, why don't you take a guy like Brandon Cooks? Because he's going to be the guy that's going to be the number one receiver there, even with Will Fuller. So if something happens to Fuller, it's just like a double boost for Brandon Cooks. So I like everything about that pick. Let's look at tight ends real quick. Hayden Hurst is still kicking. He's the tight end number one. I haven't taken Hayden Hurst in any of these mock drafts. So, at this point in the draft, it's the 11th round. So, who cares? We're just going to take a dart on Hayden Hurst, and we'll see if he can get that Austin Hooper production that's been really beneficial for him the last few years. So we got a tight end one locked in. It's a heavy passing offense. I really don't like the Atlanta Falcons offense in general, or the team in general. But I think Hayden Hurst and Austin Hooper, they profile pretty similarly. They both block pretty much the same. They both run the same. They kind of have all the same strengths, and they're basically the same athletic profile. So we'll see if Hayden Hurst can just jump right in and pick up where Hooper left off. I'm kind of projecting like an 80 to 90% total amount of Hooper's stats. So there's going to be a little bit reduction from that, but Hooper still was like a top 5 tight end last year, wasn't he not? Let me take a look at that real quick. So in a PPR league, Austin Hooper was tight end 6. So we saw 97 targets, 75 receptions, almost 800 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So he averaged 14.6 fantasy points per game. And like I said, if I just took 90% of those numbers, or maybe 80% of those numbers even, and gave those to Hayden Hurst, you're still looking at like a top 10 tight end. So I think there's a lot of upside with Hayden Hurst, especially at this pick. He's been a guy that's kind of really fluctuated in ADP lately. But anyways, let's check in on Andrew's team. I guess I'm up to pick here. We'll look at his in a little bit. Let's just look at running backs real quick. Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines, Boston Scott, Justin Jackson. No, I think we're okay on our running backs. We got 4 really good ones. We might not need one right now. Receivers, N'Keal Harry, Mike Williams, Jalen Reagor. I love my boy Hunter Renfrow. Is there another tight end maybe? Austin Hooper, Mike Gesicki, Chris Herndon, Jackie Doyle, Dallas Goedert. We're gonna go ahead here and take. I was talking about him before, but I took Jalen Reagor. He's a guy, especially in the 12th round. That's like a free space, and he's a guy that okay, cool. If he blows up, week 1, like we're gonna know, holy crap, we got something right away. So I think that's one of my things that I like to do is with the last few picks in my draft, I like taking a guy that's got kind of like an unknown ceiling and, hidden upside. And so if something happens to him in the first couple of weeks that I'm okay, we're just not going to get out of him, his rookie season. But if he comes out his first week and catches 8 balls for 92 yards and a touchdown, we're really excited. So Jalen Reagor, he's got a little bit of Tyreek Hill to his game, and I just think he's going to be a guy that can get a lot of opportunity right away, and we'll see. I mean, there's not a lot of competition at that receiver spot, so we'll see how he does. But let's take a look at my brother's team real quick. He's got Russell Wilson at quarterback. That's an A plus. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Carson, we'll give that a B plus. Tyreek Hill and Tyler Lockett and Tyler Boyd as receivers, I'm going to give that an A. And then he's got Hawkinson as his main tight end. We'll give that a B. Kerryon Johnson, Phillip Lindsay on the bench here for running backs. That's fine. Sterling Shepard at receiver. I like that. Mike Williams probably needs another tight end to compete with TJ Hawkinson, but he's set at quarterback. He's got really good a really good trio of receivers, and I like his running backs. He probably needs maybe one more guy, a fifth running back. He probably needs a fifth receiver and an extra tight end, but it's looking really good there for Andrew. So good job so far on your draft. I think your draft would look a ton better though without Kerryon Johnson. If you put Jonathan Taylor there, then we're talking, this is probably an A draft. So overall though, it's pretty solid, especially with Russ Wilson at the top. That's never a bad team when you see Russell Wilson on it. So, but yeah, we're almost up to pick here. Andrew's on the deck, and I mean quarterbacks are super late here. If we wanted to wait on quarterback, we could have waited to the 13th round here to get our guy, either whether it's Roethlisberger, Tannehill, Newton, Goff. Tons of options on waiting on quarterback. For running backs, I like Boston Scott. And it's just interesting to me that Deuce Staley said that it doesn't matter, they're not worried about giving Miles Sanders a ton of work this year. So I think Boston Scott might be one of them. So Andrew takes Eric Ebron. That's an interesting pick. Let me look at tight ends real quick because I'm going to go ahead here. I'm probably going to snag a couple tight ends with my next couple picks here. But Dallas Goedert, I love getting Dallas Goedert. It's kind of like I just said, Eagles don't have many players to throw the ball to that we trust. So it's going to be Zach Ertz as the wide receiver one, basically. I think Goddard's got the next best shot to be second in targets. And then it's probably going to be Reagor. So I just put two investments into the Philadelphia passing offense. And then I'm going to take Blake Jarwin. That's my go-to pick at tight end. If you want to run it till empty on tight end, Blake Jarwin is going to be your guy. He's in one of the best passing offenses in the league. And as you think about how are you going to defend the Dallas Cowboys, who have Michael Gallup on the outside, you're going to have Amari Cooper and you're going to have CeeDee Lamb kind of interchangeable with the outside in the slot. And then you're going to have Ezekiel Elliott just roaming like a beast in the backfield. Who's going to guard Blake Jarwin? Probably their worst defender on whatever defense they're playing. So Blake Jarwin's my favorite tight end sleeper right now. But I'm feeling really good about this team. It looks like we have 3 more picks left to make. My brother's on the clock. Let's see how he F's it up. He takes Paris Campbell. That's an interesting pick. I like him as the number 3 in Indianapolis. I'm trying to think. Did Indianapolis have their Michael Pittman Jr. not there? Okay. So there's a couple interesting receivers here. I do like James Washington at this point in the draft. He's like a really good best ball pick at this point. Alan Lazard down here chilling. Devin Funchess, that was a news blurb this week too. Devin Funchess has opted out, meaning Alan Lazard is basically got no competition for the number 2 spot. So if I'm up to pick here and I can get Alan Lazard, I think I'm going to do that. That to me seems like a really good idea. And then there's a couple of good receivers here. Russell Gage could be the wide receiver. He's going to be the slot receiver basically at Atlanta. Brandon Ayuk might be an interesting guy. He's kind of got that Jalen Reagor situation going on too, where Deebo Samuel might not be ready for the first month of football. And then when you think about the depth at the receiver position for the Niners, really, what do they have? Like, it's really not much. Let's take a look here at the 49ers receiver depth. So they're listing Brandon Ayuk as their number 1. Kendrick Bourne, Deebo Samuel, Trent Taylor, Jalen Hurd, Dante Pettis. Brandon Ayuk might be a really sneaky guy. He kind of reminds me of Greg Jennings, but faster. So that's kind of his game. He's really good in and out of his routes. He's just a quick little, slot receiver that can go deep too. So I like Brandon Ayuk. We see him go off here at the 14-3. So Andrew takes Alan Lazard. What the hell, man? because you didn't get Devontae Adams, you think you can take Allen Lazard for me? All right, we'll talk later about that. Sniping my pick. All right. So I'm just looking around here. We got 3 more picks to make. I'm pretty much good on tight end. James Washington, really interesting here. I'm going to take my boy Steven Sims. We did take Terry McLaurin, so we basically just locked in the second receiver for the Washington football team. He actually might – Steven Sims is going to be the slot receiver. I think he could lead the team in receptions even this year. I know Terry McLaurin is going to get a ton of targets, but if you look at what my boy Steven Sims did at the end of last year, he seemed to be like Dwayne Haskins' like preferred security blanket. So we see Steven Sims here, number 2 on the depth chart. I guess, okay, this, whatever. I have to take, ESPN's making me take a kicker in the defense. So we're going to go, which defense do we want? We're going to go with Tampa Bay just because it's whatever. We'll see what Tom Brady can do. They have a really good rush defense. But anyways, we're looking at Steven Sims' numbers real quick.
Go, Pack, go.
And just taking the Packers defense. They're going to get sacks and they're going to get interceptions and they're in the NFC North. So I don't really, the defense or the offenses don't scare me really besides Minnesota. I guess the lines are okay too. But anyways, you're going to see Steven Sims down here. At the end of last year, starting against Green Bay, he saw a little target spike at 7 targets and then 11, 10, and 8. If we can get these last 3 games for a whole season and just look at the output here, and then he's scoring touchdowns. It's crazy. So Steven Sims, man, he ended the last 4 games of the year with 9, 15, 20 receptions. So that's averaging 5 receptions a game. I really like that. So Steven Sims, he's a guy to keep an eye on. And then, yeah, looks like we just have to make kickers here. Let's just review my brother's team real quick. His last few picks were Eric Ebron, Paris Campbell, Allen Lazard. I think he's a little bit weak at tight end. I see T.J. Hawkinson and Eric Ebron as both tight end 2s. I really don't see a tight end 1 there on his team. As far as tight end 1s, I mean, I got Hawkinson here at tight end 15, and I got Eric Ebron at tight end 20. So I would have liked him maybe if he went for Jonnu Smith. I think that would have been a guy that he could have worked with. But it's fine. He's got a committee. He can play the matchups, and I could be wrong. So whatever. We got to take a kicker here. Andrew, who's our kicker going to be? Should we go with the Silver Fox? Should I go with the Silver Fox? You want me to take Young Hoi? Yeah, you took Young Ho?
Yep.
Young Ho, you took my Young Ho. I'm going to just go with Tampa Bay's kicker. I don't care. So that's going to complete our mock draft for today. I just want to thank you for your time. If you're listening on any of the podcasting platforms, specifically Apple, if you can leave us a rating and a review. If you're on Spotify, don't forget to follow the video or to follow us on Spotify. But if you're on any of these podcasting platforms, I highly recommend checking us out on YouTube. That's where I do the screen shares, and I think you just get a little bit more value as you can look at the numbers that I'm presenting. And if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the picks in the video in the comments below. And thank you so much. We'll see you in another video. Peace.